Hello again, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we have something really exciting that we're going to be talking about today, as you can tell. So we're going to be talking about hair trimming. As you can see, my hair right now, we're about due for a trim. We've been on lockdown a little too long, so unfortunately I have not been able to get a professional trim done, so I've resorted to doing this by myself. For this process, you're going to need hair clips, typical. You're also going to need just the little flat ones that you can just use to put your hair aside. You're going to need hair scissors and also a Denman brush to lightly detangle your hair. So my hair is clean. I had just washed my hair, air dried, and I did a slight blow dry on a cool setting on my hair. So now we're just going to work through, section my hair into 4 sections and start off by trimming one section at a time. So I like to do this process, obviously, as you can tell, with my fingers. I try not to use any combs when I'm trying to section my hair. I only try to use combs when I'm styling because I don't need any perfect parts at this point. So a lot about trimming, and people don't know this, it's one of the major keys to length retention. I know it sounds weird. You're cutting off length. How are you retaining it? Yeah, your ends are the oldest part of your hair, ergo they can be the thinnest and the weakest. So it's always nice to just keep them clean and trimmed so they stay as healthy as possible. So before I go in, I like to take my Denman brush and make sure my hair is thoroughly detangled. Really get in there and make sure you have no tangles, so that when you're going through to starting to section and trim your hair, you're dealing with very detangled hair. That's exactly what we're looking for. So I'm going to use my fingers one more time and just take small pieces of hair and use my scissors to just look at my ends and then clip them off. So I'll show you guys what I do. It's not a professional trim. It's more of a dusting of my ends that I is what I'd like to call it. Oh, I can't speak. So I stretch my hair all the way to the ends as far as possible. I look to see if I have any split ends. Where I see my ends starting to look a little jaggedy, where they're uneven, I take my scissors and I just cut them off. I'll explain that through one more time. So I take a section of hair. Very simple. You don't want to take too much hair. That's another thing. So you try and make your pieces of hair that you take out as small as possible, just so you can get an even length representation when you're cutting through, or when you're looking through the hair. So I stretch my hair out in length as far down as my fingers can go, down the length of my hair. I take a look just to see if there are any split ends there, or if there are any ends that look uneven. As you can see there, those look uneven, and then that's where I just cut off. Very easy. And that's what we do. So I'm going to do that around the entire head of hair. I'm just working my way through. It takes a little bit of time to do this. So just take your time and work your way through the entire head. Back to more tidbits about trimming. So with trimming, this is a process personally that I like to do by myself at home. I would say on a monthly basis. I do this at least once a month. Typically after I've done my hard protein treatment is when I like to go in for a trim. My hair is strengthened, it's moisturized, it's clean, and I feel like I get a really good clean slate to see where my hair is at, and I can just cut off any excess ends that I don't need. I get a professional trim from my hairstylist every relaxer. So once I'm able to go back to the salons, my stylist would typically give me a really good trim, a proper professional trim after each relaxer. But this is something that I like to do by myself at home. It's really just dusting your ends is more of what it is versus trimming. But it's making sure you're just getting rid of any thin ends that might be thinning out or potentially be splitting, and just making sure that your ends are very nice and even. So it's a really important process, in my opinion, for length retention. It's an important process just to make sure your ends always look healthy, they always look their best, and yeah, it's just something that I would recommend that you consider doing into your routine on at least a monthly basis, or just whatever routine or schedule that you're comfortable incorporating with trims. Trims are very important, guys. They're very, very important. Don't feel like you're going to be losing all the length in the world, because the amount of hair that you have to let go of by doing trims, trust me, is not equal to the amount of hair or the rate at which your hair would be growing. But the problem is, if you choose to skip out on your trims and you never trim your hair, you're going to end up having to lose a lot more hair. That just causes damage, it causes breakage, it causes a whole bunch of things that, let's be honest, we want to avoid. So trim your hair, ladies. Very, very, very important part of a healthy hair care journey. So yeah, I'm just working my way through my entire head of hair and just making sure that each end, a section, looks clean, and I just cut off. So one thing I'd like to mention again, especially about the types of things that you'd use to trim your hair. This pair of scissors that I currently use, or shears that I use to cut my hair, I only use on my hair. Make sure you're not using scissors that you use for other things. Make sure you have a pair of scissors that are specifically for your hair care. So they don't cost too much. They're very inexpensive. I think I got this a while ago. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but not more than $5 to $10. You can tell I'm really excited. My hair has been growing. I will show you guys a picture of what my hair actually looked like prior to, well, about a year ago. My hair was not making it past my chin. So this is exciting for me. And trimming is something that I would definitely attribute to that, because I've been very, very consistent with dusting my ends and getting a professional trim for about the last 2 years, and I will honestly say I've seen the most significant hair growth since then. So yeah. One other thing I would like to add, before I went into relaxers about 2 years ago when I was still natural, and I find that I still get this even now as a relaxed girl, is I find that with our African hair, we get fairy knots. I know this is more common with natural hair, but even sometimes I notice that I get fairy knots even with my relaxed hair. So that's where a single strand just kind of ties into itself and creates a knot at the end of your hair, at any part of your hair. I used to get a lot of them, if I'm being honest, when I was natural. I don't get as many now. One of the many reasons why I decided to go back to relaxers is those darn knots, because I hate them so much. And trimming, honestly, is one of the best ways to just cut off any of those fairy knots that you might see around your hair. So once I'm done with the entire section, I put the hair all together. I take a really close look, making sure I don't have any straggle ends, any split ends that I can see. I'm really doing a serious inspection over there. If we look good, I detangle one more time to see if there are any loose hairs, making sure I'm getting it all out. And then I will do the exact same trimming, dusting process throughout my entire head of hair. So I'm just going to speed that up for you guys to see. So that's all we do. We're all done with the entire head of hair. We've gotten all our ends clipped and trimmed. I'm going to separate my hair down the middle and just take a look at the ends one more time, making sure they look clean and blunt enough for me. I think we look good. Take each section, stretch it out in different directions as much as I can. And take a look just to make sure they look good. Any extra gaps that I may see, I just take my scissors one more time and I just cut them off. Easy peasy. Don't be afraid of the scissors, guys. Just don't get too scissor happy. It's easier to do these things yourself because you know how much length you're willing to let go of. You also know how much of the damaged ends that you can see, and you can just let go of them as much as you can. Then again, it's also hair. It will always grow back. Our hair is always growing, guys. So it's best to make sure you do these trims and dusting process as often as you possibly can. So if you're not doing it monthly, get it professionally done at least every 3 to 4 months, and you will see a lot of benefits, guys. I promise you. So we're all done. I'm just going to take my Denman brush and just brush through the entire hair, making sure that I don't have any more tangles in there. And we should be good to go. And that's it. That's what I do to keep my ends healthy. I'll show you guys a shot very quickly of what my hair looks like now once we're all done. And there we have it. Freshly trimmed hair. Perfect. So if you've made this far in my video, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate the time.